So they're giving DDZ a bit of an easier time there. Of course, the Quap also naturally makes some plays by the time you hit level 6, level 7. So Team Star is going to play with the pacing it does bring out. You've got some decent rotation potential here with the ET Rubik. Looking at that support duo though, ET and Rubik, one of these being pods 5, neither one likes being too far behind in farm. And Neon, do you take something that can make the Quap's life a bit painful? They take the puck, so you've got some ways of playing back and forth in the mid-wave control. And it is maybe indicating the Magnus port here, unless, again, JG plays it and they last pick the Januel here. Just doesn't seem very likely now for Neon.
No, it doesn't.
5 seconds.
Neon Esports going to go into this final ban stage now. Very, very strong kind of draft coming out here from Neon. I really do like the amount of team fight and control they do have with this Puck, Sven, and Mag. Looks like Team Star are still lacking their own position 1, so we'll see the Drow getting banned out, and just any kind of position 1 that's not going to be... Well, it is going to be effective up against the Sven, like the Drow, for example, who does just ignore armor. And, of course, with the Frost Arrows, you just kind of kite the Sven around consistently. Can be a little bit annoying. What else, though? What else do you want up against the Sven as a POS 1?
I think they've taken care of most of the big stuff. No Slark, no Lifestealer. Those are really the annoying ones for the Sven to play into.
I guess you could go PA or TB here. PA, natural evasion. TB, very high armor. It doesn't sound great, John, but I don't know what other options are left here for the side of Team Star. Unless they're going to run something weird like that POS 1 Bloodseeker we just watched, but that wasn't very effective.
No, it wasn't. I'd say... the PA into Sven is just so weird because of that cleave. Like, you don't need to focus PA. She's a non-factor. You hit the other heroes, you hit a creep, she could die, especially once you have a Daedalus. TB's okay, but TB tends to be run in very specific lineups nowadays. Perhaps... I don't like AM here because into Puck, you already have the Dream Coil to worry about. Spectre, I guess, is an option for Team Star. That's the only one I really see sliding in if they want to go for it. You could go drums instead of blade mail, try to fight, but I don't know. The Spectre has not been working out here in CU for the most part.
It's not so much slow anymore because you do go down the blade mail route and it actually makes you farm pretty quick, but I don't know. We'll see if that's what they want. It does seem like their options are quite limited now for Team Star as to what you can run in that safe lane. Hopefully we're not about to see some kind of weird safe lane Elder Titan that we were seeing from OG during ESL. Neon, they'll finish off with a Clockwork pickup, so potentially an off-lane mag? Or...
Yep. I think it's a JG mag, Januel Clock, Play Hard Marana coming in, which kind of solidifies it. We were worried about the Sport mag. I think Neon realized that would have been too greedy, so you've got the Clockwork on 5, which can be sacrificial. Januel can still be aggressive, though, with a Battery Assault Cogs. Cogs to set up for the Marana here. Hammer as well from the Sven. Perhaps even the Puck Dream Coil might set up for your Marana. Not the easiest, but you can kind of make that happen now. Team Star, it's that core pickup. It's just such a tricky spot Team Star's found him in. That's, again, a bit of what happens when you commit to the early offlane pick with no flexibility. Tidehunter's just kind of stuck there. You're forced to kind of pick your next support and your mid. Although you tend to really just commit for the safe lane at that point, but they went for the mid, and they've got to solve this issue with a core. I'd say Spectre is looking fine here because you can run out of the Clockwork. So the early aggression from Neon, at least in lane, kind of counteracted by Spectral Dagger. Once you've got a couple of levels up, you talk about Blade Mail being faster. It can be. It really hasn't felt like that in the games we've seen here in Southeast Asia. There's something about the execution. It hasn't been lining up. Like, we've seen better success with Meteor Hammer from these players, at least in the region, and the drums, right? Like, they tend to just hit the timings better. They go with Medusa.
Okay. It's a different kind of pick to make, for sure. Team Star, they're going to try something different. It obviously does work nicely into the Sven, because you can just kite him out and stone gaze every time he gets close.
Yeah.
Still problematic, though, once the Sven does have the Aghanim Scepter up. Because suddenly he just doesn't care anymore how far away you are. He just just flies in, because that's what the current meta is apparently
Oh
with
god.
Sven.
Mike, you see in this, Candyloon has a set as well. Everyone that
Oh,
plays Tide has this ridiculous set.
okay.
The dad bod.
We'll max it out so people can see. Here you go. The dad bod Tide Hunter is here again, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
Everyone loves
every
this set.
time.
Yep.
Every time. Why? Why, guys? Come on. It is pretty funny looking, though. I gotta admit, it is pretty funny.
I guess the idea is if you're like, as an offlaner, you generally just want to be quite trolly in the game, just be annoying as possible. And I guess it looks so ridiculous that
It does.
it would kind of annoy you playing against a good Tide Hunter player with that kind of set on.
I suppose. It takes me back to, you said annoying, it takes me back to, remember Ice 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 on his Brewmaster? And when the talent was super broken, like at its most broken, the split talent? Remember,
Oh.
he'd literally roll for a second, split again, fight, get back to form, roll for a second, split again. That's
I
annoying.
remember.
I miss
remember.
that.
It was good. It was good times. Just the permanent primal split that he had, just literally never was out of primal split. It was amazing.
Oh,
The good old days. I wonder what Ice 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 is up to anyway.
Yeah.
Haven't heard anything about him joining a new team yet. So
No, not yet. Not yet. He was looking at other regions, right? I dread the day where we have Southeast Asia without Ice Ice Ice. I mean, it's happening right now, but permanently is a different thing. It's gonna be a strange time for us, Mike. Strange times ahead.
see where he ends up. Regardless of Ice 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 right now, Team Star versus Neon Esports, game number 2. Team Star definitely looking to try and even this one out if they can, and Neon Esports looking for the 2-0 victory if they can get that. See how this one pans out.
Huh. It's okay. I was completely wrong, Mike. It's Januel Magnus. He went with the
Oh.
core clockwork. JT
Wow.
clock.
Okay.
Yep.
You know how I feel about core clockwork, John. I think it's one of the worst things you can do. But never mind that, because there's a big smoke up here from the side of Neon. It is going to get broken, though. Well, spotted out by Mosen on the older Titan. They're going to head up towards the north instead, see if they can find somebody else. Nice deep ward being placed here by Playhard, giving vision over the Tide. And, of course, Yamate on the Queen of Pain. In fact, that's something we didn't point out either, John. It's a pos for Quap.
Yeah. Okay, DDZ mid Rubik. Here we go.
Really? One moment, John, because Candy is in big, big trouble here, and it looks like he might just drop. But did you just tell me there is a mid Rubik?
Yes, there is, and I've been talking about this one for months. Remember that when they changed his talents? We get the Fade Bolt deals hero damage at 15 and the cooldown at 20. And of course, the level 25 now. This is delicious. This is going to be fun to watch. Easy. We're going to have a interesting time. We haven't seen Core Rubik in a long while. Of course, Neon set themselves up well with the first blood. They're going to find an even bounty rune trade. Yeah, 2 for 1, as it looks like they did get a deny in the bot lane. But looking at mid, Rubik versus Puck. This one is, I'd say, still okay for the Puck. You're going to have to watch out for the Fade Bolt. But the Puck still has great wave clear with Illusory Orb as well. Her right-click damage is still pretty darn good, although Fade Bolt will kind of mitigate that. We'll just see how much DBZ pumps out. I think the big spike for Rubik, at least in lane, would be like level 4 or 5. That's when you have levels up in Yamate.
Yeah, top lane. There's going to be another kill coming out, and it's a bit of a trying going on here from Neon. They've got the Mag Mirana with the Sven, and that is quite potent. The Mirana Sven alone is very, very strong, but sometimes you just need that extra kind of damage source, and that is what Mosen will be providing on the Mag, and even, of course, the level 1 Skewer. It is going to be just a little bit annoying, because if you do get caught out by the stun or the arrow, you are getting dragged back to wherever they want you to go. Another arrow being thrown out here by Playhard, but it is not going to land this time around. Daniel, that was a pretty weird skewer I just saw. He's going to be all right. Doesn't really have much regen to play with here, Januel, but he's going to be within safety. And Yamate is going to be brought back up here with Mosen and Candy, and they are going to run a tri-lane versus tri-lane. And mid lane, DDZ apparently gets a kill onto Yopage.
Oh, that
And now I'm just upset because I missed it.
You've got to love it though, right? Fade Vault up, level 3, you've got Arcane Supremacy for that Spell Amp. You're hitting a lot harder when you trade with Fade Vault, and I suppose right now Yapaj has got to watch out. He held on to his one Tango, does have a salve, but DDZ with that one kill is setting himself up for a good ramp into that level 5 spike into the 6 for that Rubik core.
It's one of those weird picks as well, right? Because you wonder to yourself, how does a Rubik kill a Park? But Fade Bolt does do a lot of damage. The top lane looks like there is another kill happening, of course, as I look away. But it is definitely possible for Rubik to be able to kill Park with that Fade Bolt early on. Of course, it is instantaneous as well, so you can't really phase shift to avoid the Fade Bolt. You've just got to kind of take it. As Yapaj did just try to phase shift it, but you just can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, and it's really easy for DDZ to just spam that out. Cooldown is fairly low, 14 seconds. Mana cost just 130. So you've got a lot of efficiency there just from spamming that out. Yapaj can't really leverage his mobility, as you mentioned, so he's going to have to watch his shuffling there. The 4-minute power runes are going to be super important, and this is where the support Quap can shine. Yamate did go for a level 1 Blink, which has taken away his potency in lane, but that allows him to gap close and kind of deny off and force some movement when it comes down to those runes when they are up.
DDZ's actually doing a pretty darn great job. He's really abusing that Fade Bolt to make it extremely hard for Yapaj to get any range creeps. He just keeps spamming it. Like, Yapaj can't do anything right now. He's always at a disadvantage when it comes to just right-click damage, and when you talked about those power runes, they are going to be extremely important, but the thing is, Yapaj, he's not going to have the bottle up anyway, whereas DDZ already does have one up. So the only thing you can do is just try and deny the power rune away. I just doubt that's going to really be able to happen when Yapaj has no HP. He'll salve up, but they're already in position to try and get a power rune. It is going to be top, however, but Yamate will indeed be there to take the haste and make a run for it.
And, you know, even though Star is looking bad in terms of kills, 1-3, they are finding a slight gold lead, and Skem, when left alone, does not have an easy time against a Tide.
It's actually some really smart laning here from Team Star, especially that mid lane. Such a bait pick as well. They start off with the Rubik Tide, so you assume it's going to be a Rubik Tide lane. And then the Rubik mid comes out. Obviously, after they saw that first game with Yapaj just popping off on the Ember, they understand if they can slow Yapaj down, there's not going to be much room for Skem to be able to farm this game anyway.
Yeah, they do know that Neon kind of buys the space out with Yapaj, so you're not going to see him up and running anytime soon. Now, the one thing for Star here as well is that we haven't talked about, the bot lane here for Lance has been really free for Medusa. 26-10 in last hits. JG on the clock just can't contest, and we talk about the core clock not being the most amazing role for him. It's certainly not shining here. JG just cannot gap close, cannot harass, 2 levels behind. I don't know what you expect from this clockwork in the laning phase anymore.
Pos 3 clock is so niche. It's just... I say it every time we see it, John. You may as well run it as a Pos 4, it can do the exact same thing. There's just no need to give it farm priority like this unless you're looking to rush like an Aghanim Scepter, you know, or a Solar Crest or something like that. And he may very well end up being that kind of Aura bot for the team. Just feels so unnecessary to put him in the offlane role, though.
Yeah, it's not amazing, and oh man, Yamate sniped the courier, and this is something that the support Quap can really deny off. Like Scam now, he's gonna have to ferry out his Midas a bit late. It's gonna be a minute for the respawn, and his Midas is just about 600 gold off, so you might see that Midas stalled out here, and that's not good.
DDZ, he stole phase shift. That is a nice play as well. Salves up, dodges with the phase shift, but now actually going to get it cancelled as he does run in. Not sure what the idea is here, but he does juke out the shockwave now, still copping a lot of damage. It's going to be okay. They salve him up once again. Now DDZ, top of the last hit board, John. 39, no, make it 40 and 13. And now takes the orb away from Yapaj.
This is the Rubik core spike, like level 5 to 6 and 7. is when it's absolutely domineering in lane. Now the next spikes for Rubik after this initial rush is going to be the level 15 talent. Like once you have that Fade Bolt steals hero damage, you can just absolutely melt. I've seen Rubiks with Desolators and Maelstroms. You cannot believe the right click it has. It is actually ridiculous once that's up and running.
I thought they kind of nerfed that though, didn't they?
It's still pretty sick.
Okay.
Like it's not as strong as it once was, but it's still pretty darn sick. And the fact that it comes out at 15, I think they nerfed the Fade Bolt because I remember that was minus like I want to say 6 last time. They dropped it to -4, but it's still pretty darn strong with that kind of cooldown. Just insane uptime on that added damage.
Mosen.
Such a value right click.
Gonna go down here to JG down at that bot lane. Did see Lance trying to help him out and block the way of this clockwork, but the rocket flare was enough. Meanwhile, top lane, Genuel getting dived right now by Candy, and Yamate is going to be around, but if they want the kill, they're going to have to commit the Ravage, and they do not. Just leave him be. They really came here for is that tier 1 top tower, and it's not going to be too hard to take it either, with 3 heroes up here with the siege creep. Though never mind, they let the siege creep get denied for some reason. Thought Candaloon would just tank the tower hits, but he did not. Nevertheless, they are going to slowly but surely work towards it.
It's just really good movements out here from Star. Once they take this top tier 1, Candy's going to be free to start hunting around and get some work done. The Midas is built up here for Skem, but it's not going to be a Mask of Madness this assembly play. His farm is going to escalate fine, but this will slow down the jungle progress just a bit. There goes that tier 1, so they can maybe look to make something happen with a first Ravage. They are looking
Dream
mid.
Coil. It was juked out by DDZ, and now he steals it and turns it back around onto Yopaj, and it's such a long duration. That's one thing I forgot about, John, with the Arcane Supremacy. That's a level 1 Dream Coil that just lasted forever. JG is going to jump in, however, and does pick off Candy. But once DDZ has that max level Arcane Supremacy, these RPs and Dream Coils, they are going to last a very, very long time.
Oh yeah, a ridiculously long time. 40% added on. That is just insane. And Neon's got to watch themselves. They do still maintain the kill lead, but you don't maintain the net worth lead, which is really the biggest problem. The farm of 2 of your cores are completely scuffed. JG not having a fantastic time. 2.6, 2.8k on the board. Yopaj at 3.1. All the farm here on Star's side is rather even from Lance down to DDZ. Just really tight between those cores. The only Neon core doing well is Skem, but that's because he's got free reign of the jungle. He went for the Midas, and he's going to be just building up. I'm surprised seeing this from JG, but he is also queuing up a Midas into the Blade Mail on the clockwork. So
Very
let's see
greedy.
if that pays off. Mm-hmm.
Haven't
play
seen
hard.
that one for a while. Play hard, going to get caught out by the Dream Coil of DDZ again. And he's actually going to have a backup in time to get one more usage out of it. So they've got to be really cautious of where DDZ is going to be across the map, because he's going to happily throw it out every time he has it off cooldown.
Yeah.
Got to give DDZ credit so far, John. He is playing a very, very solid mid Rubik.
You'd love to see it. It's just so domineering when it gets off to a running start. The unfortunate thing there for Play Hard Mike was he popped a smoke on the lower end of that ramp. So he died, and he just completely wasted the smoke. He bought another one out, but I believe this might be their last smoke for a while, if not second to the last. It's not what you want when you've got the Mirana with a clockwork. You need to play with the smokes, find pickoffs, especially when you're not really ahead, and you need to kind of buy space out that way.
And JG looks like he may have... Yeah, he's cancelled off the Midas. He's actually going for a Glimmer Cape now. Which is honestly the smarter decision, I think, from JG. I don't mean to be that guy, John, but what's the point of a core clockwork?
Yeah, no, I mean, as you mentioned, right? Core clock, but it's rushing a Glimmer Cape, which is, it's useful, but that's core farm just going for that. It's a rather strange. I think the key thing here is it enables Johnuel to be greedy. And we kind of saw this from Adroit, right? When they ran the support mag, they had a core silencer that took the backseat after laning. Same thing happening here. JG's taking a step back from farming. Johnuel is given the jungle. So now you're looking at the blink timing for Johnuel going to be key to set up for Neon.
Going to be important. They need the team fight. And it's going to be a hard game for Januel as well, because he cannot afford to let DDZ take the RP off him. It's a lot easier said than done. You look at DDZ, he has the boots of travel up, and I'm sure he'll either go for an Aether Lens or a Blink straight after this, just to be able to have that range and mobility. Either way, I think there is a lot of value in just picking up a Blink here for DDZ if he wanted to just avoid the Aether Lens altogether. It's really up to him, but he could definitely make a lot of plays, and it looks like he wants to have some real global presence.
Just gonna be able to really apply his pressure there. You can see Neon, they smoked up, but again, just not finding anything. And this lineup wants to pick off. We talked about Upaj wanting to really get started. He needs to find these kills, and they have to go mid now.
I'm not sure what they were looking for bot lane, John. Lance was showing in the mid lane. I'm not sure who else you wanted to smoke to, but they're going to smoke over to the mid lane now. It's just a really hard team fight to take. They've got Ravage, they haven't even leveled up Stone Gaze, but they don't need to. You've got the Stomp from the Titan, you've got the Sonic Wave, and of course you have DDZ, who can steal all of your abilities. It's very, very hard to imagine them going to a fight at the moment. Looks like they're just going to have to back off and wait till they're alone a bit and try to find a single pick off as JG going to break the smoke off Team Star. They are not going to try and initiate. JG will be allowed to run out of there. Meanwhile, Skem does commit the God Strength and does take out that bottom tier 1 tower. And Skem is still farming very well on the Sven, which is definitely good news for Neon.
Yeah, he's already immediately just bought out his Echo Saber to find a pick off on Yamate at least.
They're going to try and protect this mid tier 1 tower though. They did commit the Dream Coil for that kill onto the Quap. It's going to be a bit harder to take this fight. Look at Candler just commits the Ravage. There was a sentry right there keeping tabs on Upaj. Now the Stone Gaze pop from Lance. He's not going to allow any kind of retaliation. And it's very rare. In fact, hold that thought. Nice hook shot and a cogs out from JG. He's going to take down Mosen at least. Now Candy can chase him down with DDZ, who did take the arrow away. Yamate going to blink in now with the screen, but Sonic Wave is going to be held off on. Hold it for another time. What I was going to point out, John, is it's very rare to see a Medusa draft push a T1 mid tower in 14 minutes before the other team does. But that's what we just saw.
Yeah, and this kind of play around of Medusa really reminds me of Boom Esports, right? We always talk about it when the Medusa's there, but they love playing fast with that Medusa. Surprisingly, Star is able to emulate that quite well. Like, Lance isn't afraid to join for these pushes. It's been paying off well. All he really has is a Yasha and 2 Wraith Bands. But that's enough for the Medusa to maintain that presence, and there's just not much Neon can do to fight back against it. They don't have this blink on Johnny. It's not going to be up for about 700 more gold. And they're just in such a risky spot in these fights now while waiting for that item to be up.
They are. T1 is being counter-pushed, but a great Sonic Wave out from Yamate. JG will pop the Glimmer and hookshot to Upaj, but it is stolen. DDZ now has the hookshot. Who does he want, though? It's a bit tough to hookshot in as a Rubik unless the kill's guaranteed. He does go after the Mirana now, but no lift available as the Stormhammer does come in. Scam going to rush the Rubik. There's your RP out, Januel. Has he skilled anything else? He did not, but it doesn't matter. He'll be all right. Scam, big trouble here. Is surrounded, does go down while Upaj did go into the backlines and got DDZ, but he's a bit of a sitting duck now. He'll orb away towards the west of the map and is going to be able to TP out. But that is definitely a great team fight for the side of Team Star, as they only lose 1 and they will get 3.
Yeah, they're just, again, getting everything they'd want out from these exchanges. The fact that they found Scam is really the worrying part here for Neon. Scam is the #1 net worth on Neon's side, and that lead he had over the Medusa is pretty much gone. 8.8 against 8.4 now. Lance has caught up pretty much quite well, and this is a Sven with a Midas. You do not want to be behind. He dies with it off cooldown. So, you know, small efficiency mistimings like this is costing Neon, and they need to wait again. The blink for Johnny just about 200 off. So there is some steady build-up for that initiation tool here from Neon, but it has to come out. They have to be a little bit more patient when they take these fights. You found DDZ, but DDZ is just it's fine as long as they found everything else. Lance is starting to take over now. He's the priority in terms of farm, and I think you can't afford to just focus down the Rubik. Even the Tide is kind of sacrificed here because it's a Medusa game. It's shaping up into a Medusa game, and you do not have the response yet on Neon side.
You saw that last team fight as well, John. Januel, he went for the RP play. And with that really low mana pool that he has, he couldn't afford to actually use anything else afterwards. And that's where I'm kind of scared here for Neon, because if you can't use another spell to at least make it so DDZ can't take the RP, it's going to be used against you. But bot lane, they have actually found DDZ. Yapaj, great rotation out with JG. They do make it happen.
Yeah, and that's one thing Team Star has to be cautious about. If they are giving their bodies away like this, that is one way for Neon to bounce back in. They've got this blink now on Johnny. Doesn't solve his mana issues, but does enable him to gap close. They're going to have RP up in about 20 seconds, so you might see Neon opt for a smoke play relatively soon. I also like this build up here on Scam, just going straight for the BKB on that Sven, just to ensure that he can stand in front, get the hits off. Team Star, they do have Ravage up. They might be able to fight into Neon soon if they wanted to, but there's no rush when you have the Medusa. So I don't reckon Team Star is going to look to really be offensive. They're just going to fight into Neon when Neon decides to push their luck. And as long as Star's positioning is right, you've got this Medusa that's nearly untouchable at the moment, it can be really hard to fight into even with a BKB because of the Stone Gaze.
Well, smoke broken there, play hard, gonna get scouted out, DDZ. Didn't get the lift off. Play hard, gonna be able to leap out just fine.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Like DDZ has gone back for the Aether Lens build-up. He has slowed down a lot in terms of farm, so I'm gonna start questioning the effectiveness of this mid Rubik very soon, John. Yopaj, after that bad of a laning stage, has taken over by 1.5k.
There is little hope for
It's
Dire's
not
middle tower.
really not good news for Star.
No, not really not. And, I'm looking at DDZ's talent pickup. He went for 150 HP over the damage. I think that's a mistake for a core Rubik. And, I mean, think about it. 150 HP isn't much. 50 damage is insane. The fact that he doesn't opt for it, it's not going to save him from a nuke, right? Like 150, it's not like he has a Glimmer Cape on the team that's going to save him on the edge where the 150 really matters because of EHP. None of that's there. So I'm not sure about this for DDZ.
You really wanted to see that right-click Rubik,
Yes.
huh?
Yes, I did.
You're very upset, I can tell.
Yes, I am.
The disappointment in your voice. Bot lane JG, he's going to have to be a little bit careful. There's a lot of heroes from Team Star that are just around the corner, but it looks like they're going to have a look into mid lane, where Play Hard was showing for about a second. They won't be able to catch him out. Yopaj was up at the top lane, but doesn't want to deal with Lance either, so he'll leave the Medusa be. Mosen going to get spotted here by a Skem. Warcry pop, Skem is going to try no JG. Will hook shot in, but there's a lot of heroes here from Star. This is a pretty dangerous team fight to be taking. Skem will go for a Stormhammer. They'll get Mosen, and now an arrow lands onto Lance. That is a 5-second arrow. The Dream Coil does come out. Yopaj. Oh, he gave Dream Coil away again. It won't matter yet. Lance, he'll go for the Stone Gaze. Chasing down Skem. Yopaj, he cleans up Yamate. And they are waiting very patiently to try and go for this Dream Coil, and there it is, DDZ. He does end up landing it. Into the Ravage now from Candy. They will be able to clean up too. The TP back in from Yopaj, but what can he get done? He needs to run. He'll take the bounty.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yopaj, he needs to be a bit more cautious with that Dream Coil usage. He cannot give it away to DDZ like that.
I definitely can't. Has to watch himself when he casts it. And DDZ really turned out once they got the Dream Call off. Ravage was an easy follow-up. Neon could not get the RP off once more. Johnny, he's had this Blink for a while, but we haven't seen the initiation with Blink RP. That is something Neon really needs to start piling on. We talked about the Magnus starting to really be the big playmaker with the puck. Has to happen. Dream Coil, RP, skewer out, and breaking is really your key to kind of winning out here, especially since Skem does not have his Ags yet. So it's down to the Magnus and Puck to really find those openings, and it's not too bad considering they found a couple of kills, but it did fall off a bit flat there, considering Johnny dies way too fast.
Back to the farming game here for either side. Lance very close now to having that Eye of Skadi up, and that's going to be a really nice power spike for the Medusa. They haven't really dealt with Lance whatsoever throughout this whole game. He just has been left to his own devices. Continues to just farm up, but seems as though Neon are just confident with outscaling with the Sven. Which is pretty feasible once you have the Ags and maybe a Daedalus. We've talked about that part. Especially with the Empower.
Oh yeah.
In fact, Yamate.
Yeah.
Got baited in. He wanted that Invis rune and he did get it. It's not going to matter anyway. Hook shot. Trying to go onto Lance, but that won't land. Pretty much be it. So they'll just take the Yamate kill and they'll back off. They are still quite aggressive with their positioning here, Neon, so they can just kind of block away the side of Team Star from farming, and well, they're actually going to find out Candy down at that bot lane now. Skem will rush in. Mosen does TP to try and help out, but Candy is going to cop a lot of damage here from Skem. He turns around for a second for the creep wave. Earthfooter now coming out onto Yopaj. Candy still trying to run. He has Ravage in 1 second. He will pop up at Skem. Great BKB timing. He got it perfect, and now he goes on to Mosen. Swings his huge sword, gets the kill. Ooh. Now Januel gets a 2-man RP into the cleave of Skem, and that'll be Lance going down for perhaps the first time this game, unless he turns around with the Stone Gaze and the Sonic Wave. They'll turn it back around onto Neon. Oh, they needed one hit. One hit from Skem would have done it, but the Stone Gaze. Oh no.
That is so painful to watch. Lance counting his lucky stars that the skewer actually placed him on the high ground. They didn't quite have vision. I believe that was literally a step below high ground. And they were blind. It was just not right. No.
Classic Magnus, right? Like you could just keep them there where they are while your Sven's hitting them. But the Magnus sees that he has skewer off cooldown and has to use it every time. Reminds me of some very bad pub games, John, I gotta tell you. Hookshot does come in from JG. Arrow not going to be there in time, but he has the clumsy net. We'll hold him down, but JG, a bit of an error there, John. He could have just clumsy netted into the arrow. Now Yamate going to turn around but get stuck on the cliff. Lance going to keep chasing him down. Shockwave is going to be out from Januel. JG still trying to survive, but does go. Yopaj now orbing through the team fight, but can't really do too much. Candy doesn't spot him out apparently, so Yopaj will be alright to get himself out. Couple of errors in a row here from Neon, and suddenly Team Star do look a lot healthy again.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Neon. They've got to wait out now just a bit more. Wait for the Ags on Skem. It's almost up. His courier is down though, so he's gonna have to ferry that out to himself later on. But Star right now, they've got the 6k lead. It's really widened out from that last fight. It looked so bad at first, but they turn it around just by having Lance live true. They have hit some talent spikes. I'm looking at DDZ and I'm continuously disappointed, Mike. He went for cast range. He didn't go for the left hand. Like,
well, John, he didn't go for the plus 50 base damage anyway, so it wouldn't have really mattered.
But I'm just so disappointed. I keep looking. I mean, yeah, it's great with the Aether Lens, right? But it's not dank. This is my key issue here.
Well, there's the Aghanim Scepter now up on Skem, so into the mid lane they go. Januel with the Moonlight Shadow looking for a big RP opportunity. He'll be able to find it. Rocket Flare going to give a bit of vision, but not really too much, and they're not really going to be able to get into that dire triangle that easily. They'll just let this one go. By the way, John, big shout out to Fogged, who's apparently in the chat right now. I was just observing for him at ESL Germany. My deepest apologies about the T-tools, sir. It's a very, very stressful time.
Yeah. Hello, Ione. Been a while. Still, we've got a lot more coming out here for Star. The Butterfly gonna be next, and they run into Yamate.
Yamate gonna be in trouble now. Scam just pops the gold strength into the hook shot from JG, and they go down. Earthsplitter though with the Ravage out Candy. It's a great setup, but the RP is gonna come out from Januel, but nobody's focusing them down. Scam, he's chasing DDZ, but DDZ's kiting him around. They'll go back after Yamate on the quad, but Scam. Yeah, he got ran around in circles there, John. Yapage gonna just make his way out. But Team Star will win themselves another team fight, and they will go straight into the Roshan pit.
This is really bad now for Neon. They really aren't finding the initiation they need. They're not on the same page. Like, you see Januel jump up, but Skem staying down with Yapage. They need to line up. They need to play as 5. I get that they're declumping for the Ravage, but this...
Oh, Yapage, that's going to be a big pick off if they can get it. He's put to sleep. He'll go for the phase shift. Well, gonna just try and skewer his way out, but DDZ with the orb just closing the gap. And this mid Rubik has been causing so many problems for the side of Neon Esports.
Yeah, and DDZ's just been playing out of his mind, setting up for his team. It's been stalled out long enough for Neon, though, that we're just about 20 seconds out from having both Team Magnus and Sven around, but they don't have RP.
Yapage getting caught in the Radiant Triangle now does go down, and unfortunately for him, he was right underneath an Observer Ward. Bit unfortunate there. Neon starting to really fall apart in this game number 2. Now Team Star look to just take over. It's it's looking tough.
They've got an 8K lead, 19-16, 28 minutes in. Neon... it's starting to look like the high ground defense has to be the game plan. Right? You've got RP, you've got the Sven. High ground's a really tight, confined area that they can punish in. But I don't think they're going to be fighting outside. They're going to have to give this tier 2 top. They might have to surrender the tier 2 bot when it comes down to being pushed in. You take a look at Lance. He's got the Butterfly and the Scotty up. So he's slowing people up. His Stone Gaze is just so annoying to fight into. He's got the Aegis. The high ground will start. Neon's got to figure out an angle to come into here.
That they do. Scam, it's so important he doesn't get kited in these team fights like he did the last time around. They really do require his damage output. Gonna sneak up from behind here with the Moonlight Shadow, but it's about halfway through the duration already. No sentry wards to give vision, but that rocket flare is going to make it fairly obvious still. They will hook shot straight in onto DDZ. Yapage trying to get the damage done, but there's a huge Ravage up from Candyloon. They just have nothing in the form of control. They'll buy back on their Mirana. Skem going to come back in after that Tide Hunter, but look at getting lifted up there. An RP coming out, but he's going to be turned around on anyway. Skem trying to fight this one out, but Lance, he is hitting way too hard on that Medusa. They just can't get it done. Lance still going after the Mirana, and now it looks like they have caught out Yapage. Trying to hide, but DDZ right on top of him. An absolute mess in that top lane. Yapage, he'll buy back. If he dies, the game could just be over. They don't have buyback available on Yapage. He's short about 1k gold.
Ooh, it's going to be a hard defense either way. If you don't have RP and Januel, you're going to have to, again, work hard and own.
Yeah, they found the Puck. Stormhammer to come in, and look at the duration on the Puck. He's put to sleep now, but they just put him to real sleep. Candleloon with the Anchor Smash, taking him out. And that's it. Into the mid-racks they go. I mean, they've got to wait for Scam.
Yeah, they at least won't get Mega Creep since they have a tier 2 bot. But they're kind of just playing in their triangle. They're trying to punish a retreat here. I don't know if they're going to find that opportunity, though. This is the right spot for them to be in, considering how far behind they are. But there's no opportunity just yet.
It looks like they've accepted the fact that they'll lose that that mid-racks and the top racks. Just Team Star, they'll just happily back off. They understand there's no rush with a 17k net worth lead now. Lance will get started in that bot lane, and speaking of Lance, John, he is pretty darn close to having that full Daedalus up. Basically already finished. And with that Daedalus up, I mean, his damage output is just through the roof.
Oh yeah, it's I mean, they can't sustain. Like they just melt. Even a Sven, who's fairly beefy, doesn't stand a chance once Lance is around. And Neon, and they're trying to buy some space out. JG's just trying to cut the waves off. It's not going to help. Tier 2, next objective, only objective left for Neon to really take, and they're just going to force the issue now. They do still have the Aegis for at least a full minute. That's a pretty long safety net, and there's that Daedalus.
There it is. Smoke up, Neon. See what they can do in this team fight. DDZ still holding onto that Stormhammer. And even with just that Stormhammer stun, it's just such a long duration. Scam gonna sneak in from behind. Moonlight Shadow to be popped as well, but it is underneath a sentry ward. And Genuel kind of just made it pretty obvious, but Mo's gonna get jumped on now. DDZ lifting up Scam, and there goes your Ravage out from Candy. It landed on 2 with the Sonic Wave to come out. Lance still trying to fight. Will go after JG. Yapage, meanwhile, going into the tree line with a tree call out on Genuel, getting a nice RP off. Killing off Yamate and DDZ, but Lance, he got the Stone Gaze in time. He'll fight back up against Scam, going after DDZ, but with the Aeon Disc, he's going to survive, and Scam is going to go down. He does have buyback gold, but it may just not matter, as they are just going to go towards the high ground, even without that Aegis up. Yapage, JG, they're going to stand right behind them and watch this happen. There's your buyback. They go after DDZ, but the hookshot does not land on JG. He's a bit of a sitting duck, but now the Stormhammer does come in from Scam. It'll be a dieback onto DDZ, but Playhard will also die on the Mirana. Back to the high ground. Lance just does not give a crap, and there's your GG call. They just couldn't do it. Neon will draw out the series up against Team Stars. And that'll be our first series of the night finishing. And John, for Neon, the night is still young. They have another series straight after this one up against Team 496.
Yeah, and they've got to find those wins. Like, this draw leaves them at the same spot in their group stage standing, so that leaves Team Star just slightly above them. But if they find a good win in their next series, I think they actually do manage to overtake for now. They only have, 3 series after this one? They have to find those wins, Neon, just in a very awkward spot. And not the result they'd want there. Just falling flat. They make a couple of mistakes. DDZ played out of his mind in his early levels mid. And it's just superior drafting this time for him, Team Star. They definitely step up to their plate with that bait and switch, and you got to watch out for that up against Team Star. We talked about it, but this team can pull out some really big surprises and pull off some pretty big upsets when they do manage to find their opportunity.
What they do. With that, John, we are going to move on to our onto the next series of the day. It is going to be, again, 496 versus Neon Esports. It's MLP Dota on johnxfire, and we'll be back in just a moment, or rather 10 minutes, for that second series. We'll see you then.